It's that
Well,
because it's
let me
a
let me review some of the options. So, do you remember what a linear pair is?
it's where they're both on the same line.
Yeah, it's like A plus B equals 180.
Hmm.
That's not what's going on here. Do you remember vertical angles?
Those are when they are a cross the
Okay. Yep, the kind of a cross. That's a good word. Um, so another one here with parallel lines, though, when we move into sort of the parallel lines part, you had alternate interior. So that's two parallel lines cut by a transversal. A equals A,
mhm.
or B equals B.
B equals B.
That's the one
Okay.
I like to start with. Then there were corresponding. Corresponding had a few more options. It was like A corresponds to A, B corresponds to B, C corresponds to C, D corresponds to D. And these were always equal. It was like A equals A, B equals B, C equals C, and D equals D.
Hmm.
And for alternate interior, they were equal also. And then the last one we covered was alternate exterior angles. This time it was like A equals A, B equals B.
Hmm.
So you're going into this. When is your formative? Do you have a
Just in
date
the
on that?
next couple of days. She's not being super specific, unfortunately.
Okay, well, that's all right. You have to know all this in the next couple of days.
Yeah, nothing
uh,
good.
which one, what do you think you're going to do to memorize this or remember this? How are you going to do that?
Um, Probably look at the notes on this lesson as much as I can, and then probably make a couple flashcards.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Flashcards, looking at notes is good. Somehow we got to like, remember last year at the end, it was like you had to solve a square root problem. And I said,
Hmm.
how are you going to remember that this is a square root problem? And then you had one where you had to solve by factoring. And I think there was even one with like a quadratic formula in it. Do you remember what you did there to remember that stuff?
Um, I think I just like every time I could in class, like I just go over our notes we'd have.
Okay. Because there's a lot here. There's totally a lot here, right? And
Hmm.
you got to know all this. And I'm reminded by students every day how much this is to remember. I'm not going to pretend like it's easy
Yeah,
to
yeah.
remember it, but this is what you have to know how to do. Because when I look at this, like I already know the answer, but that doesn't help you. You have to
Um,
this right up here is one of these things that we just went through. And I can eventually tell you, but do you have an idea? Do you have a guess here?
would A be corresponding to 83?
Yes, yes, corresponding angles.
And then
Let's go through them one at a time. That's your Y. That's your statement. That's your S, and that's your reason. I think that's the flow that they're doing it in. Okay. Um, B. So again, if you need to, you can always kind of zoom in on that part that's most, useful
yeah.
for B.
Yeah,
It's like
just ignore the rest of that.
what I'm zooming in on here is like, all right, these lines are parallel. Yes, it's parallel to something up above here, but I don't care. I only care about these two. Why does B equal 83?
Um B is equal to 83 because it is a corresponding angle.
It sure is. Yeah.
And then I guess like the next part for that is like you're figuring out sorry, what's that letter right above B is just getting covered by?
Oh,
Thank you. D.
we're not gonna, we go in order. So okay, that's important. These are designed to be done in order.
Oh, okay. So like alphabetically in order.
Yes, or numerical order. These are a lot of times designed that way. So you're gonna find C next. So B is 83. That's not good. Let's not do that. So how do we find the measure of angle C?
The measure of angle C, you have to use angle B,
That's true.
and you will see that they are
You're stalling. I like it. I
they're
like it.
not they're I don't know the name for it.
So a linear pair,
Vertical?
I've drawn it horizontally. They can also, of course, be, any orientation.
Mm-hmm.
They could be vertical, it could be slightly angled, as long as it's a line.
As long as it is a line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you agree that B and C are part of, like, that's what I'm trying to show you. Like, there's too many lines going on here, but if you just have B and C, do you see that this is a linear pair?
Yes, that is
And
definitely
what does a linear pair add up to?
180 degrees.
So here you have to actually solve for C. You can't just say C is 83 because it's not.
You'd say, I guess you just subtract
Yes.
80 from 180, and that would be 97. C equals 97.
C equals 97. And then this might be something to ask your teacher. Do I need to write definition of linear pair, or can I just write linear pair?
Do I need definition of linear? Okay, yeah. I'll write that down.
How specific, how specific do you need to be?
I need definition. All right, thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of asking her that.
This class is just so specific on language.
Oh yeah.
Which is tough for you as a math student. You're like, hey, I'm not in English class right now, and I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not in a Latin class, I'm in a language class. Like, all that matters are the numbers, except they don't.
Yeah, it's great for once you know how to do it.
Yes. All right. So now we can go back and find D. Now, like I said, you're supposed to do it in the order, but you can do it. You don't have to wait. Like, you can do D. Then there's actually a couple answers for D. Well, no, I'm sorry. There's only one numerical value for D, but there's a couple of reasons that it could be what it is.
Would it? Okay, so it can't be corresponding. I guess would it? No, can't be alternate exterior either. So I'm solving from C to D.
Or B, or you can use B, or you can use this 83.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll do B because that's alternate interior.
Yes, you can say D equals 83 alternate interior angles, or you can say D equals 83 vertical angles.
D equals 83 vertical angles.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I guess, yeah, vertical could even be easier than that. But
well, there's multiple answers, right? But it's not corresponding. It is corresponding if you find F, but you don't know F yet.
Okay, so then A, B, C, D, E, F.
Where's E? Oh, there's E.
I hope it's not like far away.
Yeah, sometimes you can't even find it. You're like, where's E?
Yeah, it's like a big spider web almost.
So I've tried to zoom in on what matters here for E.
Okay, so 31 E. That has to equal 360 degrees, correct?
No. Well, if it went all the way around, yes, but not what's not there. You just got a line.
Okay. So I know that the other side's 31 across from 31. So would I have to figure out it, like, add it up to 180?
Yeah. And sometimes, again, there's just too many things going on.
Okay, so if I have it as 31 and I have to make it 180, you just subtract 180 and 31, which would give you 149.
Yes.
as E.
And that's only part of it. That's, I would almost argue that's not even important here. It's the why. The why is what matters.
Oh, do I have to do the thing where it's like I have to make it
You have to say
all the
why.
numbers? What? Oh, okay.
And it's one of the
And
options we
that's
already
because
talked
it's
about.
a parallel. No, 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 no. Wait, yes, parallel.
Let's go back to this one right here. How did you find that C was 97?
Because it was a linear pair on a 180-degree.
This is also a linear pair for the same reason.
Did I say corresponding instead of linear?
You said, well, I'm pretty tired. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
You got it. You've got to say linear pair. There's no other answer here.
Okay.
There's no gray zone. Um, it's that.
Okay. Linear pair, 149. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we go back to F. Let's see if I can find F. There's F. That picture. There's actually a couple of ways to do this for F.
mhm.
Um,
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but could I possibly make that 360, or would it also be 180?
you want to get that 360 out of your like you're
Okay.
not supposed to
No
know that.
360 on
Yeah,
this.
it's like let's say you spoke Italian and you went into Italian class at school. You're not supposed to know the Italian. You're supposed to, or Spanish or whatever. You
Yeah.
don't know that yet, but but you can use one of the like see how there was nothing on this list that added up to 360.
Yeah.
Nothing. So you can't use that. You can only use those things. And it seems very primitive because you're like, wait, why
Yeah,
am
yeah.
I not able to do that? And you're like, yeah. So
Yeah, of course. All right. 180, 180, 180 for everything.
yes.
Okay. So back with that one, it's has like F and B and C. We could use maybe F and C as a linear pair, maybe.
Yes, that works. So F equals 83 by linear pair, definition of linear pair.
And then
But there's a
what I
little bit
want,
more.
and then I guess C.
Now, you can also say F equals 83 because what are B and F? What are those two angles?
Um, the same. Sorry, I don't. They're
Vertical angles.
vertical.
Vertical angles.
Right, vertical.
I know there's a lot to remember.
Yeah, I'll just start memorizing that, so then the lessons will go smoother. Um, okay, so if I have those two, so if there's a problem that has more than one way to do it, should I write every single way?
No, but I'm trying to by doing doing the multiple ways. I'm
Just
trying to get you to
understand how like
yeah,
there's more than one answer for some of this.
yes. But it also helps you to understand, okay, they're both vertical angles. So let's say it's not there, but here's a Q. Q and C are vertical angles. Q and B make a linear pair, and Q and F make a linear pair.
Q and F. That's true.
And so there's a lot of like ways to do it. We don't use word processing software, but if I asked you how many ways there was to copy and paste something in like Microsoft Word, there's 3 or 4 easy ways to do it. So that's the same thing here. I wish there's a better analogy, but it's like driving.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean
you can
that
get
works.
you can get there just a few different ways. Okay,
Um,
we're up to EFG. Is there an H? There's an H. I do see an
there is
H.
an H and an I and a J.
Yeah, so let's keep going here. So the only thing you need to find H, oh, we got G, sorry, G first. Okay, so let me go do this. Okay, so we want to find G. G is right here. We found that E was 149, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and there's 83. All right. So G is in a weird spot. It's part of this triangle.
And then
So we need the other angle of this triangle. So we need this one over here. I'll call this R, angle R. Notice that R is the same as this one over here on the left because they're vertical angles.
yeah. So we're solving
For
E to F.
G.
Oh, for G, sorry.
G, we already have E.
So we wouldn't be using 180 in this scenario because
Well, we will, but we got to find angle R. Angle R is 31.
all
And
right.
then this is where I guess this is a little awkward because you haven't done this yet. But the sum of the angles in a triangle, they add up to 180.
They add up to 180, the sums of the triangles.
Yes.
And then, sorry, just to have it more specific, what are the sums of the triangles exactly?
So the three angles in the triangle. So let me draw that off to the side here. You've got,
Like an example where it's like ABC in a sense, but in this case would be EFG.
what's 31, 83, and G. These have to add up to 180.
So then I would just add 31 and 83.
Yes.
And then that would give me 104 minus 180 is
Yes.
170, or just 76, sorry.
Yes.
And then
So this is where you're not really supposed to know this, but I mean you kind of do. There's not another way to do it as far as I'm concerned. There is this thing called the exterior angle theorem, but I don't know if you've covered that yet in this class.
I'm not sure if I have either.
Okay.
Is it, could you write out the formula for it if there's a formula? Because
Yeah, it's a little bit. Let me go down here a little bit. So it goes like this. If this is, I'll call this X, and this is A, B, and C, X equals B plus C.
that
It's
does
called,
look really familiar.
it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so X is the exterior angle to the triangle.
Uh-huh. Wait, would I make a mark like an angle line from X going to like A on the exterior?
No. The point is though, is X is outside of the triangle.
Uh-huh.
X is outside the triangle. And so the one that's right next to it, you don't look at that one, but it adds up to the other two.
That adds up to the other two. Okay, so X is the same as the two added, like B and C added together.
Yes. Now let's see how that applies to your problem here. Your problem, 149 is the exterior angle.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't let you add this up correctly. Oops.
Oh.
It's 114, so it's 66. Okay, so using the exterior angle theorem, 149 equals 83 plus G.
83 plus G.
Yeah.
So then
So when you subtract 83 from both sides, you get the same thing. You get G equals 66. Let me look for a couple of problems like that.
66 plus 83 plus 31 would equal 180 or 149 since we're solving for the 149 of this problem.
Yeah, let me give you a couple of problems like this before we move on, so you can get this solidified because it clearly is. So you're not supposed to do what I did. to answer this problem, you need to use this exterior angle theorem because you don't know it yet. You don't know that the sum of the angles in a triangle add up to 180, even though you do, but you don't.
Okay.
All right. So here's an example of an exterior angle theorem. They want the question mark. I'll call it X.
X. Okay.
Can you tell me what X is?
X is 70.
X is 70. Very good. Let me grab
All right.
another
I
one.
was like, that almost seems like that's too simple.
Yeah, it's like harder to prove than it is to use. Once you figure it out, you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. All right, here's a kind of going the backwards of it. This angle right here, call it Y.
Y. Okay.
How is Y related to these two angles?
Y would have to be 70 as well.
Nope.
Actually, no, that would not make sense. It would be 60.
Okay, so I'm giving you something slightly different. Let me not do that. Let me go back to the exterior angle theorem. The exterior angle theorem says, we'll come back to that problem. It says the exterior angle, in this case 140, equals the sum of these two.
Oh, okay. Here, can we go back to that last one just so I can redo that one?
Right after you give me the answer to this one.
Okay. 95.
95. And yeah, it's not that hard. It's just adding two numbers. Now, this problem, Y is the exterior angle. How do you find the exterior angle? Well, it's equal to the sum of the interior angles.
So then it would be 120.
Yes.
Okay, that's not too tricky.
Let's try a few more here. See if I can get you to do a couple in a row here completely correct. Then
So
we'll
is there like a catch to this? Like where's like the
no, this
sweet.
theorems have no exceptions.
Um
Well, until they're disproven.
30, yeah.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, how often does that happen? Like in
Well,
math, like someone figures out a different way to do something.
not, it's very nuanced now. I mean, most of the big stuff's been figured out that matters. There's also things that people believe to be true, but nobody has ever proven.
Uh-huh.
So there's like Fermat's last theorem is one of them.
Oh man.
These are things you don't want to spend any time looking up. They're not useful for anything you're ever going to do.
Yeah.
or me either. But so there's also this thing called Horner's trumpet.
Mhm.
Anyway, there's a shape that has a known volume, but an unknown surface area.
But unknown. Huh.
And that'll, if you think about that too long, that'll just mess you, you'll just.
Yeah, I'll just start messing with you.
Like, why, what do you mean? If I can, know the volume, it's one of those math things that just doesn't really work out the way it should. Okay, enough distractions here. Tell me the value of question mark. Wait, do we already do this one? Yes, we did.
I think we did.
We did. So I'd grab the wrong one. All right, here we go. Determine the value of question mark, please.
That would be 28 plus 58, 86.
Good. Okay. Now let's go back to your problem. We found G and we needed to find H.
Found G and now I need to find H.
So let me snip that back in.
So I guess you could say H is it parallel?
Nope, these are not parallel. So, but what did you find G? And what was the value of G?
G's value is shoot, sorry.
66.
66 because we're adding the we know what the thing equals and then there's a 33 in the blank.
So there's a lot of distracting things here. I can't quite zoom in enough, but this is all you need to find H. Let me snip this in here. This is all you need. You just need G,
Just need G.
because like when this is the hardest part of this course is you gotta visualize this. This is G and this is H.
This is G, this is H. Okay. And then that would be the other one where it equals 180 degrees.
Yes, and what is that?
Parallel.
Let's go back and look. This one here is the
Linear
same.
pair.
Yeah.
All right, linear pair, linear pair.
This
So
one's
linear pair is pretty common doing this, I'm assuming.
okay. So a little more sort of organization. Linear pairs, you're gonna just look. You're sort of focusing on a single line.
Uh-huh.
Vertical angles are intersecting lines,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else is parallel lines. But a linear pair is generally they're both gonna have intersecting lines, because really this keeps going.
Okay. Okay, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Right, yeah, I don't know. I like to call that thing like the disproportionate like six pack.
Okay, I like that. All right, we're up to I. Guess we're going back to I.
Up to I. Okay, so then with
These are parallel. So when you've got two parallel lines, you're in that parallel lines grouping of questions.
okay, so I don't need to use H involved with I. I'm using 97 in this scenario.
No,
Um,
no. Instead, there's something about when you've got parallel lines. Parallel lines.
because I know it has to equal 180. Correct, right? Like using the, or well, actually I's like the same as 97 because it's a shoot. It's oh my god. Is it the same one that we just did? Linear pair?
It is not linear pair. They're not on the same line. Like they're parallel lines. You got to go back to your parallel lines collection of stuff. Here are the parallel lines ones. It's one of these three.
So if they're the same like that, would they be okay? So I have a question. So would it be corresponding or would it
Yes.
be an
Yes.
alternate? Okay, so
Well,
then
for it
it's
to be,
because they're the same because they're both going to be the same number, which makes them
well, no,
correspond.
if this, I don't know, no. So alternate interior would be like I and 63 degrees. Because they're in the interior and they alternate over the transversal.
Mhm.
So 97 and I are they're not alternate interiors. They're in the same relative
Oh,
position.
right. Yes, meaning that they're like the same, essentially.
Yes.
Well, not the same, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So therefore they'd be corresponding 90, and then I would be 97 degrees corresponding angle.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess this isn't really too tricky. I don't know. It's just so weird, like having it taught like in class, and it's like really confusing. Then doing the lesson with you, and then it's just like way more simple than I thought it actually was. And I'm like, oh wow.
This is very simple, really. I mean, they're like, it's once you get it down, it's not that complicated. It's
It's like
over.
one of
It's
those things where it's like simple addition almost for
yeah,
memory.
it really is not meant to be that challenging. So we got to unsimplify it or unconfuse. I'm sorry. We want to make it simple by uncomplicating it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this
Looking at
one,
it like in the pieces is way better than like at the whole thing almost.
yes, this is corresponding angles.
Corresponding angles, 97. One's on the inside, one's on the outside, and they're the same angle, same number. Okay. Yeah.
And then J is our last one.
And then J is at the end of that E and 31-degree angle triangle. And then, okay, so I have a question for.
So this one actually has nothing to do with the triangle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably the best question because it's a little bit distracting about where it is. So all of these lines are parallel, 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 parallel.
Parallel, parallel, parallel.
So this one in the middle does not matter. You just get rid of that. So J is also J. Why is J that J? Why is that? It's one of those three.
Because
Alternate interior
the
corresponding.
alternate, it's not interior, it's not corresponding. It's here. Wait, I have this one written down. I think it is a alternate exterior angle. No, shoot, I thought I had that one written down.
So again,
So
like here's what I'm seeing. J
right,
and
wait, it's
J.
corresponding.
It's
They're on the.
corresponding. Yeah. And again, like if you need to, and this is the hardest part for students to do this, is like to trim out the lines that you don't need. There's a lot of
Yeah.
distractions here, but yeah, that's corresponding. That's not your answer, but it is leading you to your answer
So
because here's I.
oh, so then we already know what I is,
Okay.
and then I is 97.
Right. So
E,
this is 97 and this is 97. So a couple of ways you can do it. The most direct way though is alternate exterior angles.
alternate exterior angles.
But remember, it comes from vertical angles are congruent and then corresponding angles are congruent. So you could potentially get away with saying one of those, but in a proof, you would say one leads to the other leads to the other.
So then, so one leads to so using I, we can solve the J that would be above it, and then, or this like,
Yeah.
okay, wait, so
But
what if I
or
didn't
you
know
can
that
just
J was supposed to be like next to that I? Like, how would I even figure out how to do that problem?
it's just
Oh, it's
visual.
a alternate exterior as well.
That's the most direct one. That's the one that I think they're looking for. But
Yeah,
there's other little ones that lead to it.
man, there is like so many ways to do this.
Yes.
Okay, so then,
Choices.
yeah. Okay, 97, 97. All right. And then obviously you don't need to show all of the ways to do it. The most direct way, do it alphabetically. So would you say the hardest part of doing all of this is just memorizing all the names in a sense and like what they mean?
Yeah, it's recognizing all the various ways that it could be corresponding, all the various ways that it could be alternate interior.
Huh, okay. All right.
Like, let me show you a couple of those. So let's go alternate interior. This is kind of the standard way, but I could also do this.
So then, oh yeah, that's the same way. It's just sideways.
Right. But would you notice that
No.
those are alternate interior?
Yeah. Okay, I know this is like kind of a weird question, but would it make sense to ever like turn your paper around in different like
Yes.
directions?
So when I used to meet with students in person more than I do now, I would tell you not to rotate your head, rotate your paper until it looks the way you want it to look.
Uh,
And yes, that is the best way to do it.
okay, cool.
You will see students, crooking their neck, and it's bad for everyone. But yeah, you want to make it look like one that you think. Same with linear pairs. Linear pairs, I think, is the one you were struggling with a lot. This is the standard one. X plus Y equals 180, but here's a linear pair. Let me do it another way. Here's a linear pair. Okay. But unfortunately, you're going to see it the following ways where it's even more messed up when there's two lines. X plus Y equals 180. Because what you
Yeah.
have to be able to do is you have to recognize the red part is the only part I care about. I want
Yeah.
to
Other
get rid of
part.
this other stuff. And I don't know how to tell you to do that. It took me a while as a student to figure that out.
Mhm.
But I try to share the information I have with you guys because it will help.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yeah.
It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So the like to answer your question, like, yeah, you need to know what an alternate interior angle is, but you need to know that it could come in any one of these possibilities and others that I haven't written. And usually I'm pretty good about being able to show you all the ways that it could be, but because you're rotating things, rotations are really hard to show all the possibilities of.
Yeah, like this, even if you could show all of it, it would be a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, I have a question. Do you think we could look a little bit at 11 and 12 and 13 too before the times?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get through as much as we can
All
here.
right, thank you. Yeah, because I think like I feel way better about the like the I don't want to call it spider web, but that's like the only
Yeah. Keep calling it that. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Sketch isosceles triangle ABC where AB is congruent to AC. So I recommend drawing a standard triangle each time,
Mm-hmm.
meaning like always draw them the same orientation, shape, you know.
Yeah, same
Now,
angles and points.
now in terms of where to put the letters, that comes from this. So AB is congruent to AC. That means that A is shared at the top like
Mm-hmm.
this. Okay. And these AB is congruent to AC. CB is 11. I think you made that clear in yours. And then it says if CB is 2x plus 5, so I'm going to go ahead and label that. And AC is 2/3 x plus 4. Find the perimeter of triangle ABC.
Mm-hmm.
So you need all three sides, but really you only need either AB or AC because they're congruent.
Yeah.
So in an isosceles triangle, you have equal, and how do I do this? Base angles are congruent,
Base angles are congruent.
which doesn't matter in this problem, but the base angles are right here, these two.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then more importantly are it's got two sides congruent.
Two sides congruent.
So it didn't even need, well, I guess it doesn't. It could have, yeah, I guess it did need to say this. There's a few other ways to get to the same piece of information, but again, in geometry, there's kind of two things you're going to do. You're going to set equal, or they add up to something. So in this case, 2x plus 5 equals 2/3 x plus 4. You're setting them equal. And that's where your geometry is relying on your algebra.
Yeah.
It's saying like, hey, you took algebra 1, you passed. How do you solve this? And you're like, I don't know. That was last year, teacher.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I would clear the fraction. What can
so,
you?
all right, so you just would put them like the two formulas in a sense to just together.
You set them equal.
Yeah. Okay. And
Set
then
equal.
I guess it would make sense to multiply it all by 3, right?
3. 3 is a good choice. You will do this setting equal and adding up to something over and over again in this course. Sometimes it'll be 360, like you were trying to tell me earlier today. It really will.
Okay. All right, yeah, so then I guess 6x plus 15 equals 2x plus 12. Then it would be 4x equals minus 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then x equals 3 minus 3 4.
Yep.
And then
So you got to. So this is not the answer. This is x. It
and then would
wants
I
the.
insert x into one of the existing
Yeah.
formulas?
Yeah. And I guess I would choose the one on the left, although it doesn't really make that much difference. I'd go 2 times minus 3/4 plus 5. That's not right. Sorry, that's not right. Don't look at that. Okay. So
2
that's,
times minus 3/4. Would that be like,
it's better to divide before you multiply. I know you want to say -6/4, but if you divide first, if you could somehow commit yourself to doing that, you save
mhm,
yourself a lot of trouble in the long run. So
yeah,
it ends up being -3/2 plus 5/1. 5/1 is really 10/2.
10/2, and then 7/2, and then I guess that's the same as
So
3/2.
we got to remember, like, what are we even doing here? What are we doing? You know, here's A,
Yeah.
here's B, here's C. This is 11. This is 7/2. But since it's isosceles, this is also 7/2.
Uh,
And we want the perimeter.
mm,
Perimeter is a walk around. How far do you go if you walk all the way around this triangle?
you'd go 3.5 and 3.5, so 18.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, so then,
I don't know. You got 23. I don't really know. You also said X was 3. Let me
yeah,
check
and
this.
the
I'm really
scariest part is that I actually did that with my teacher.
okay. Let me check here because
Uh,
I'm
or do you think you accidentally did 12 instead of 11? Because I got, wait, no, that would not make sense.
no, this looks right.
Because I'll be honest, like I trust yours more than hers.
Yeah. If you knew how tired I was right now, you question that. What are the equations again? 2x plus 5. Is that right?
Yeah, 2x plus 5 and 2/3 x plus 4.
Yeah, we got the answer here. Um,
Well, that's definitely not concerning.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's see if we can quickly get through number 12.
And then one question for 13. Is it the same as the first problem we did today, sort of?
What do you mean
Where
by that?
where it's saying like find the value of x. Because like M2 and M3, so do I just figure out what x is, like making, so it's like I know 12x plus 29 has to become 55, so would I make like,
No, 12x plus 29 is not 55.
or well, I mean like would I make the x be a number times 12 that would equal 55 when you like add it with 29?
Let me grab this. This is important because it's here. So, okay, let's look at this. What angle does 55 correspond to?
Mm,
These are
55.
these are
Okay.
corresponding.
So then I have to make the 12x plus 29 equal 180 with 55.
That's right.
So then
So you solve
I
that
guess
for
I just
x.
make that 84 minus 180 would be 96. 12x equals 96.
Yeah,
X equals
x
8.
to the 8. Yep. So now you have to plug that in though to get this actual value, which is 135.
Yeah,
And then 135 corresponds.
with 2. So,
And then the
uh,
measure of angle 3, it's either 55 by vertical angles, or you can do it with a linear pair,
or with a linear pair.
either one.
Okay, wait. So 135 corresponds with 2.
Yes.
And then how do I do anything with that, really?
2 is
Like,
135. There's nothing to do.
oh, so I'm just literally stating it's like, oh, these numbers correspond.
You're saying the measure of angle 2 is 135 degrees.
Okay. Sorry.
That,
That, yeah. Okay, that
that's
makes
your,
sense.
like, it's like saying your variable x equals 10. You don't just leave the 10 around. You have to
Yeah.
actually.
Okay, cool. And then 2, um, the corresponding angle on the, wait, no. The vertical angle across under 55 and next to 3 would also be 2 degrees.
This one right here is also 135.
Also 135
Yeah, because they're vertical.
because they're vertical. Right. Okay, sorry. I just said like the same same thing as I did before. Yeah, 135 is the same as that one.
It's okay. Talk it out. Whenever you're working through problems, just talk it out.
Yeah. And then would I use alternate exterior angles for 3 and 55 to
I
make
would
one?
just I would just use vertical angles because it's right there.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, 55
Yeah, they're vertical.
vertical. And then I guess yeah, once you read all that out, then that's the answer, right?
Yeah, let's go back and let's do 12 real quick
All
here.
right.
Get
And
this all.
then with what's on for 12, is all the stuff on there correct, you'd say, or is
So
that
I'm gonna do
off?
the same thing you did before. Okay, the problem with this one is they don't tell you. Oh, it does say above. Oh, okay. Okay, so they're referring to that one we just did. I see.
Mhm.
Okay, I was like, how do you? Because you don't know which one is. All right, measure of angle B is this is 9x plus 16. C is
Nine
also 9x
plus
plus 16.
16.
Okay.
And then this triangle.
Yes,
Okay,
your work is
equal sign
correct
is
because
correct.
the three angles have to add up to 180.
Hmm. Okay, so then I'd write out that formula where I'm just smacking everything together twice, or
Yes.
well,
And then you
those two
plug it,
together twice, and then
back in. Yeah, this is
so then
correct.
what I just write, and then 63 plus 16, 79, 22, and then that equals 180.
Well, you're writing this equation up here that you wrote and you're solving it for X and you did it
Solve it
correctly.
for x.
And then you put X back in.
Put x back in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess. Um. Okay. Yeah. So it's just kind of like the thing above.
Yeah. It
In a
refers to the
sense.
it refers to the
Yeah.
triangle above. That's what I was looking for because it couldn't tell which was the base angles, but when it says above, I assumed it meant the problem we just did, which it did.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Zach, great job tonight. We're gonna
Thank
end
you.
it here, and I'll send you the notes here shortly. It might take me a little bit, but good luck. Let me know if I can help again. And
All right. Thank you so much.
probably would recommend another session before your exam if you got time. So I hope you have a
Yeah, of course.
good few days.
Okay. Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All
Bye
right.
now.
See you, Matthew.